With Pat Lopez, where we talk everything real estate. Today, my guest is Louis Vega from SuperHome. Louis, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Happy to be here. Thank
Great,
you.
great. So, Louis, you deal with smart technology, right?
That's
Smart
right.
homes, commercial properties, all that kind of thing,
That's
right?
right.
So, before we jump into, residential, investment properties, commercial, all the things that you do, how did you get started in smart home technology?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, always been a tech nerd. Actually studied like computer science in high school, and so I've always been in the technology world. I've actually been in IT for about 14 years. So,
Okay.
very, very heavy tech, right? So, I started doing some smart home technology in my home. My wife's like, "Oh, I love the lighting. I love the locks." I'm like, This is something here." So, I started offering it to friends and family, and it kind of just snowballed from there.
Great, great. And how long have you had your company?
So we've been like officially going for since 2020, but I've been doing this for the last 6 years, kind of on and off.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's jump into um, my home. So I have a house. I give you a call,
Yep.
and I say to you, "Light me up." Give me the bells and whistles.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, so the wow factor really tends to be like the lighting, actually, and a lot of people don't think about the lighting and how much it affects your mood. That's why certain color temperatures affect how your productivity, or if you're easing at home, you kind of want to relax, you want that ambient kind
Right.
of warm tones. So the lighting is probably like the coolest kind of wow factor. But the main components of the home that most people opt for are security, and so that would be an alarm, surveillance, and like the locks. So
Okay.
those three components are really like kind of the cornerstone of where everything starts. And from there, you can kind of branch out and do others, some of the more fun stuff like your thermostats, your lighting control, and then you can control gates and things like that as well. So,
Okay, so I have a house that's existing. You don't have it's all like wireless. You don't have to like rip down walls to run wires.
yeah, that's actually a big, big question among a lot of homeowners because they want to know, hey, are you going to be poking a whole bunch of holes and running
Right.
wires? Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. It really depends on what it is. For the most part, we can do a lot of things wireless.
Okay.
So that's great because it allows us to get in there quickly, to get the technology that you need, but also it's clean and
Right.
you don't have to worry about it. But sometimes, especially with hardwired cameras and things like that, sometimes it does require it. We try to do it either on the exterior if we can to kind of keep the house
Right.
intact.
Right. Right.
But for the most part, it is wireless, and we do it wired when necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So and then once you're done doing everything, do you have an iPad or you work right off your telephone and
Of
you're
course.
able to control everything?
Of
And
course, we need to, we have our phones
right.
every day, Pat. So our phones are everything, and so everything starts there. So yeah, you'll have full control over your home on your phone or your iPad, any tablet, or your web browser even.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different options there.
Okay. So just so I understand, because I'm not that smart. So if I want to control lights, what do? You just where the light switch is that where you put in like the smart device, and then obviously that's already wired. Is that how that would work?
So you're already on to it, but
Right.
you already know. You already got it. So that is one component. So that's actually an easier way to do it because we do have existing wiring in
Right.
place. So it's easy to make the switches smart and start there. But if you want to kind of change things up, we can even do lamps and other things, and even the bulbs themselves can be smart. So depending on what direction you want to go in and how much granularity and control you want over the lighting environment, will determine what direction we go in. We usually start with the switches, and then we'll go to the bulbs, especially if you like colors. Sometimes
Right. You
folks
can do
like
that. Right.
different colors, and the kids love that stuff too. So if you kind of want to have that more granular control, we can move to lamps and bulbs, and then and change out certain switches as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is there any difference if you're dealing with like new construction? Are you running wires then, or are you still using that wireless technology?
That's a great question. So a little bit of both, but we do hardwire as absolutely much as possible.
Okay.
We like to do that because it does give us a little bit more power on certain things that we can do, particularly around the surveillance side.
Right.
Big thing, the hardwired cameras. It's better to hardwire them. You don't have to worry about power and battery and solar and charging and all
Right.
that stuff. So yeah, we'll try to do that. Maybe video doorbells, things like that. We try to hardwire. But the security stuff, typically we do wireless. The technology has come so far, Pat,
Right.
that now, I mean, these things are lasting for years and years, and you don't have to worry about, them really dying on you.
No.
So it's pretty efficient now.
Okay, great. Okay, so I saw on your website you mentioned Airbnbs, contractors, things like that. So what are you doing for an Airbnb or an investment property or for a contract?
Yeah. So the first segment was residential, right? We kind of
Right.
talked about that. So moving into the investment space, so we work a lot with short term, mid term, which is like the new thing, right? So we got like Airbnb is a short term. We had long term rental. Now people are doing kind of 1 month rentals.
Right.
So we do short, mid, and long term. We have customers of all kinds. And so we work very closely with investors. I do some real estate investing myself, so I can speak to kind of what that process looks like. You want to automate the property. You don't want to be there as much.
Right.
You want to kind of be hands off. So we come up with solutions so that investors can manage their property remotely from their phone, whether that be the doors, maybe tenants access coming in and
Right.
out. Surveillance is a big one,
Right,
right? We
right.
got to know what's going on. So from that perspective, yeah, the Airbnb market has been really hot as well, because the guests actually expect that these properties have these kind of amenities. They want the smart thermostats.
Right.
They like that when they show up, the lights are already on,
Right.
right? It kind of welcomes them into the home. They like that there's security. There's actually a checkbox on Airbnb's profile that will list whether or not the property actually has security cameras. You
Okay.
want to be in that world because it actually makes the tenants feel safe. If you happen to be in an area that maybe isn't so good at night,
Right.
really important to have the security there as well. So yeah, we work soup to nuts with our investors to make sure that they have all the technology they need so they can run their business remotely from anywhere.
Right. And also just for the dollar and cents part of it,
Yeah.
if you have, you want to be able to turn off the lights if somebody's not going to be able to get there the very next day, or turn down the air conditioner if it's summertime, you're not going to have it at 60 degrees for 24 hours and you're spending money. So
You got
that would make a lot of
you
sense.
got that, yeah,
Okay,
for
great.
sure.
Now, I saw about contractors. This really, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I did some flipping back in the day. I don't
Yeah.
do it anymore. But putting cameras and security system in when you're rehabbing a property. So explain a little bit on that.
Yes, and so we know, and you've been through this, sometimes you get break-ins in a property and it's really, really tough to deal with. So one of the things that we've been doing with investors is twofold. So one, we can do alarms that you would traditionally find, in a property. If somebody breaks in, siren
Right.
goes off, calls the police, etc. But one of the smaller things that we've been doing that has been really a big hit right now is giving the contractors cameras that they can watch on the outside of their property from their phone, no power, no Wi-Fi needed, and we rent them on a per project basis.
Right.
This has been a huge thing because obviously if you're framing a house, you don't have any electric in the property.
Right.
You need cameras, and you need cameras because you want to keep an eye on things. We can put these cameras up. You can check from your phone anytime.
Right.
Internet's built in and they run on solar, so you never have a problem with power. And it's been a huge hit. And we have dozens and dozens of them across Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. And it's really been giving contractors some peace of mind to be able to keep an eye on their property anytime. So it's been a big hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's just rental. So once the property's sold,
We come and take them
you
out.
take it away and it's
Yeah.
great.
And then they have another project, we put them up.
Right.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Now what happens if I'm a contractor and I want to install some of the smart technology or alarm systems, things like that? You can do that as well?
Yeah, so we do offer design services, and consultation. So, if you're a contractor, you have kind of the fundamentals, you have some of the basics, but you really want some direction so that you do it right the first time.
Right.
We do consultations as well and can give you kind of a roadmap to not only do the locks, the thermostat, the lighting, but even Wi-Fi design. We know that when people buy a house, the first thing they get is Comcast,
Right.
Verizon. They're getting their internet installed the first day. What we want to do is actually when you're selling, let's say you're a flipper, for example, you're
Right.
selling the house, sell it smart, sell it ready to go for internet.
Right.
So we will do a pre-wire, or we can work with contractors to give you a design map so that you can mark out all the main areas of the home so that you can have wireless. All you have to do is plug it in and it'll light up the whole house and you have complete wireless everywhere. So that's another sweet thing that we do, and people really love it.
Okay. And now with the alarm systems, if you turn around and you pre-wire and you have the alarm systems in place,
Yeah.
does the new homeowner, do they have the option of obviously keeping it there because it's already there,
Yeah.
but not have to pay for monitoring if they don't want to, but they have it there, or
Yeah.
they can subscribe to a monitoring service? Is
Yeah,
that the same?
yeah, absolutely. So we do this actually a lot. I just did one. I just had a call today. So basically, a flipper sold the property with the technology installed, and we had service. Now, here's actually a really cool thing for construction projects or flippers. When you're finishing a project, we can actually install this equipment, right? You're going to sell it with the house and sell it as a smart home.
Right.
We'll help you with that designation. But during that process, when it's sitting on the market, you can actually use it as an alarm system.
Right.
And so now you're protecting the home while you're there. And then when the new person moves in, we can transfer service to them.
Okay.
So oftentimes there will be a monitoring cost associated with that. So a monthly recurring cost. But the equipment's already there, and it's a huge benefit to the homeowner because they don't have to, buy extra equipment. It's already in place.
So,
yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's now jump to, I think, I guess the last segment, which would be, commercial businesses, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what do you do for that segment of?
Yeah, so the last one. So businesses we love. So a lot of the work we do with businesses is around surveillance and access. You have your key fob, your keypad access systems, and then surveillance. Those are the two main things. We also do alarms. We've done several businesses in the last 30 days where we're doing a combination of all of these things. So access, surveillance, alarms. And it really is just giving the business owner control again over their building from anywhere, anytime. So those are the big main categories around business, particularly around surveillance, especially the state of the city sometimes is a little crazy. So
Right, sure.
the business
Going
owners,
anywhere.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
you have a vacant property.
yeah, forget it. Somebody's coming forward. So businesses are, they're not exempt from that. And so we've been really helping to streamline that process by giving them all the technology in the palm of their hands. That's the idea.
Okay, great. That's some really cool stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
I back in the day when I was flipping, I never, thought of the cameras and all that, which would have been great, because all of a sudden you have a refrigerator and the next day you go in there, the refrigerator's gone.
Missing. Yeah, look, we've had
missing in action.
Patrick, we've had lumber reports of lumber stolen, and we've actually had our contractors contact us after the fact saying, "Hey, I'm so glad we got our cameras. We saw a contractor that we fired walk out of the property, somehow got access, walked out of property with lumber and materials." So things happen, and so it just gives you so much more peace of mind knowing that you can look at your property any single time, any day. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm really happy to help not only our homeowners or investors, but also the business owners around. So.
Now, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how would they do it?
Yeah, so you're going to go to yoursuperhome.com, yoursuperhome.com. All of the information's there. You can even build your system if you have, some thoughts on what you might want your property, your investment property, or your business. You can give our little form a couple check boxes and send us your information, and that goes to a member of our team, and we'll take care of business. So yoursuperhome.com. You can also give me a text or call 215-469-1387. And yeah, yoursuperhome.com is the best place to reach me.
Perfect. Really good stuff. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe. We have some great guests, some really good content. You don't want to miss any of it. Also, comment. I always want to hear what you liked, what you didn't like, what some future show topics you want me to cover. So remember, this show is everything real estate, no limits. I hope you enjoyed.